Welcome into what is the final show of 2018. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Shaq Hislop and Stevie Nick, and I have to feel, gentlemen, we're a little underdressed.
Yeah.
Aye? Well, when we welcome Raf Honigstein into the programme, you'll see why.
What?
Hey!
What?
It's made an effort. Is that a rental, Raf?
No.
All right, then. Of course, over the next few days, there is a full programme of matches in the Premier League. We'll focus on the game on Thursday because it is the standout tie. Of course, Manchester City taking on Liverpool, a defining game when it comes to the title race. Manchester City favourites at 21-20. Liverpool coming in outsiders 5-2. Remember the gap at the top of the table. 7 points going into this match. Raf, you probably out of everyone that we have on loves Jurgen Klopp the most, so much so you wrote a book on him. Even you must be surprised about what he's achieved this season.
Well, he hasn't achieved anything yet, but I am surprised that they are ahead at this stage of the season. I thought that they would be able to push City closer this year, but I still didn't quite believe that Liverpool would improve as much and that City would drop as much, because both these things really had to happen at the same time. City have only dropped a little bit, but just enough to open the door for a Liverpool team who, like City the year before, just don't drop any points at all. I don't know how sustainable that is. The rest of the fixture programme after the City game looks quite good for Liverpool, but this is still a big test, and I think psychologically, even though they could afford to lose, they don't want to, because I think once you lose a bit of aura, a bit of invincibility sense that they've built up over the last few weeks, maybe then you start second-guessing yourself. I don't think so, but you'd still rather not be beat.
We were talking yesterday, Raf, about the psychological challenge that Klopp will face over the second half of the season because of the expectation in Liverpool, because it could be their first title since 1990. How will he as a manager cope with that?
I think he's in a good position because he's experienced various similar situations before. Okay, Mainz, you can't really compare them to Liverpool, but this was a team that had never been in the mix for promotion and suddenly find themselves with the real possibility of going up, you know, like an unheard of scenario. And ultimately they did it. With Dortmund, it was maybe similar because this is a city crazy for football, and they were leading throughout the season. And he did exactly the same thing. I'm kind of laughing a little bit when I hear his comments, because he used to say exactly the same thing. Every game by itself. We're not thinking ahead. You know, he's really drumming that message into the players, into the media if he can. And I think he's been there before. I don't see him now suddenly doing something silly or changing the formation or doing something strange because he feels that he needs to do something special to cope with the extra pressure. I don't think he believes it that way. If anything, going back to what I said earlier, I think he might be even a little bit surprised that Liverpool have a chance of really pulling away from City.
Yeah.
If you'd given him a chance, I think, to be in the contention with City later on in the season, he would have taken about a chance to maybe even knock them out now. I mean, he'd take that all day long.
Is it as definitive to say, Shaka, if Manchester City don't win this game, Liverpool have won the title?
Look, it's still a long way to go, and you've seen Liverpool throw away leads in the past. But with this gap as it is, and Liverpool playing as well as they are, I don't see them throwing it away. Not right now. Not given everything that we've seen from them over the last couple of seasons. This is City at home. If they don't win, I just don't see City making up.
That's it.
Gap. Not yet. I'm not saying it's it.
You just said you can't see City making up the gap.
Give me a couple of weeks. Give me a couple of weeks.
Is it done?
No.
If Liverpool win, is it done?
No. And, you know, I think City can't afford to lose this game because the way the first part of the season's gone, the way Liverpool have played, the squad they have, the depth they have, the standards they've set themselves. If Liverpool win this game, it does seem almost impossible. It does seem pretty unlikely that they won't go on and win the league because they'd have to lose 4. They'd have to lose 4. They haven't lost 1 yet, and they'd have to lose 4. And City or Spurs would have to win all the way through. So It is a huge game, but it's not over. It's not over.
The trouble for me, and why I'm so torn about it, is I can't help but draw comparisons between this team and the team that finished second with Luis Suarez, what was it, 4 or 5 years ago. So many similarities in how well they're playing. This is the best we've seen Liverpool play since that. Again, for me, Liverpool probably have the standout player of the season, Virgil van Dijk this time around, Luis Suarez the previous time. But you just wonder if that lack of experience, that lack of winners, people who've actually won the title within that Liverpool dressing room, this time around, you can only count Daniel Sturridge with Chelsea and James Milner at City, as having been there. I think the big difference between this time and the time with Luis Suarez is that standout player is at the back. And we all know titles are won with defense. Probably the biggest difference is who they have in between the sticks this time around and last.
How much of a disadvantage is it for City going into this tie knowing that they need something from it? Does that play on their minds? Or does it play on Liverpool's minds knowing that they've got a safety cushion, if you like?
No, I think it means that they have to go for it. And I don't understand, regardless of what the points table says, it's a City at home against anybody in the world, they have to go and play. Mm-hmm. Especially when Guardiola is the manager. Yeah. They have to get out.
These players recognise that and don't shake that challenge. Otherwise, it's money down the drain, in my opinion.
I honestly believe the pressure's on Liverpool here. I really don't think...
How can it be on Liverpool?
But Man City have to just go and win this game. That's all. The only thing they have to think about is just go and win this game. Liverpool have got to think, or Klopp has to think, you know, do we slightly change, or are we daft just opening up and scrapping with City?
So having said that, what should he do going into this game?
Play the way they've played all season long. Get after it.
But you imagine he will do when you're after it.
Well, when the two teams met the first time round, it was 0-0. And it was played in the shadow of the 2 games in the Champions League, where I think Guardiola was so afraid of what happened to him, he chose a more conservative setup. And I think also Klopp felt that they can't really push City that hard before they themselves will be opened up. I can see that repeating itself. That game, incidentally, was the game this season with the fewest number of goals, shots on goals of all league games. I'm not sure it's going to be quite as stalemate, but Klopp doesn't have to win the game. And even Guardiola, I think, will see this as, if we lose, we're out. But if we draw, we can maybe just hold them in over the rest of the season. So after everything that Guardiola has said over the last few weeks, how Liverpool worries him and they're the best team in transition stuff, if he then goes out and plays into their hand again as he did in the Champions League, I think the players will look at him and think, you know, what are you doing here? So I see this as a more cautious affair once more.
So, Raf, you going for a draw?
No, I'm going to go for Liverpool win, but I think it's going to be narrow. It's going to be a 1-0.
That, of course, is the final game of the Premier League fixtures as the new year kicks off. 4 matches tomorrow, then 5 on Wednesday. Tomorrow, Everton, Leicester, Arsenal, Fulham and Cardiff against Spurs. I mean, is there a standout time Wednesday? I'm looking.
West Ham, Brighton.
No, then.
Newcastle building a wall against Manchester United.